After the explosion, years of silence. In the years that followed the disaster at Chernobyl, thousands of families struggled with health complications. Cases of thyroid cancer increased dramatically, especially among children exposed to radioactive iodine. Entire villages in Ukraine and Belarus were permanently abandoned. More than 100,000 people were relocated. For many survivors, the pain was not only physical, it was psychological. They were labeled as Chernobyl victims, often facing discrimination and fear from others. The sarcophagus and the new safe confinement. In 1986, Soviet engineers rushed to build a massive concrete structure over reactor number 4. This structure, called the sarcophagus, was meant to contain the radiation. However, it was built quickly under extreme conditions and was never meant to last forever. By the early 2000s, cracks began to appear. So, an international project began to build a new steel structure, the new safe confinement. In 2016, this enormous arch was carefully slid into place over the old reactor. It became one of the largest movable structures ever built, designed to contain radiation for at least 100 more years. Life in the exclusion zone. The area around the plant became known as the exclusion zone, a 30-kilometer restricted area. Most people were never allowed to return. But surprisingly, some elderly residents secretly came back to their villages. They chose to live out their final years in their ancestral homes rather than start over elsewhere. Meanwhile, wildlife flourished. Without human activity, forests grew thick. Wolves, wild horses, and rare bird species began to thrive. Nature adapted, even in a radioactive environment. Political consequences. The disaster deeply damaged the reputation of the Soviet government. The attempt to hide the truth created international outrage. Chernobyl became a symbol of secrecy and government failure. Some historians believe the disaster accelerated political reforms under Mikhail Gorbachev and contributed to the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. 5 years after the explosion, the Soviet Union no longer existed. Global awareness. After Chernobyl, nuclear safety standards were strengthened worldwide. Emergency response systems improved. Public debates about nuclear energy intensified. Countries reviewed their nuclear programs. Some shut down plants. Others redesigned safety systems. Chernobyl changed global energy policy forever. A modern reminder. In 2019, the HBO series Chernobyl brought the disaster back into global discussion. A new generation learned about the sacrifices of firefighters, engineers, and civilians. The series reminded the world that Chernobyl was not just a technical failure. It was a human tragedy. The war and renewed fear. In 2022, during the Russia-Ukraine conflict, military forces entered the Chernobyl exclusion zone. For weeks, the world feared renewed radioactive risk. Thankfully, no major nuclear release occurred, but the event showed how fragile such sites remain, even decades later. Candle. Final reflection. Chernobyl is not just history. It is a warning written in radiation. It reminds humanity that power without responsibility can destroy generations. The abandoned city of Pripyat still stands, silent, empty, and haunting. A frozen moment in time. And as long as reactor number 4 remains sealed beneath steel and concrete, The world will never truly forget Chernobyl.